Hey, everybody, welcome to Tattooed in Business. I am your host, Brian Merrill, and this is Tattooed in Business Live. So, um, wanted to try a couple different things. So, you notice there's a scrolling across the bottom of the screen. That's how you can reach me. That's how you can interact with me through whether it be chat, email, check out the YouTube and whatnot. But you can also interact with me right now live if you choose to do so. So you should be able to go on any of these. And if you want to make a comment, please feel free to. So this being Valentine's Day, I figured this was a good time to rehash one of the topics that I've discussed in the past and go into a little more detail in depth into how it has affected me, changed me, and how I see things going on even today. So the title of this is Never Fall in Love. Pretty fitting around Valentine's Day, of course, like I said. So what I'm talking about that it goes for life in business as well. I had a really good friend who passed away when I was working at Southern Tier Harley named Victor Scarcella, and he had a used car lot, a self-made man. Went through a bad time in his life, went to prison, came out, started a business, uh, did very well for himself, and he sold used cars, and got to be really good friends with him when I worked at Southern Tier Harley. He was one of my favorite customers to come in, and he came in every day. So it got to a point where we were talking every night, even when I would leave the store. We'd get on the phone and talk, I'm, as most of you know, I'm super passionate about sales, right? I love being in the sales game. I love being just kind of me and being who I am. And uh, he really helped me see some things through a different light. One of the best lessons he taught me was he said to me, he says, Brian, when you're in the sales game, never fall in love unless you're ready to lose money or get hurt. And if you think about that, it's pretty true. You want to try to take the emotion out of the sale. In a lot of cases, you want to take emotion out of business when you're making your decisions. And at the same aspect, sometimes when you're selling, you're trying to sell emotion. So when do you use it and when do you not use it, right? So when do you use the emotional aspect of selling in being in business? And when you're working, depending on the product that you're trying to sell, you are trying to sell emotion at some point. But when you're running your day-to-day business aspects and focusing on what your job is, you need to take that emotion out. So when you hire somebody, an employee, it can't be whether, I mean, you have to have a like for them, of course, but at the end of the day, it's not about liking them. You got to take that emotion out of it, right? And are they going to benefit you? Are they going to be a value employee? Are they going to be a good worker and whatnot? That has to play into it. At the same aspect, when you are making purchases for your business, titling your business, branding your business, emotion's going to play into it, but you got to know when to take that out. That's why you can't fall in love with things. So I went through this period. I think I've discussed it before in my other podcast. Is I had my brand GY6 Promotions, and I started that brand. I launched that brand, and I realized within the first year of it, of really pushing it, nobody gets it. Nobody understands what GY6 is. They don't understand what it means unless you've been in the military or maybe a first responder. So GY6 comes from me being in the military, meaning I got your six. So when we talk about positioning and how we do things when we're going through, um, you know, whether we're on patrol or whatnot, we always you dictate where somebody is in reference to a clock. So when we say we got your six, it means I got your back. So me being former military, when I first launched the GY6 brand, um, I wanted to be an apparel store, and honestly, that's where I want to go back to with that GY6 brand. But I fell in love with it. No, I fell in love with the concept behind it. It was my heart and soul. It defines me as a human being. I really just, it's me. And I started, if some of you were on Facebook Live when I first started, I used to call this GY6 Nation. And a GY6 Nation was about changing the way that we are living to making sure we have each other's back, that we're being genuine there for each other. And, you know, I really fell in love with this brand. And when I came over to work where I am now, I realized that it I had an ugly baby, as I how I say it. So I had to stop falling in love with that, take myself back, and realize what it was. So through the business that I was going after corporate America now, it totally changed from what I was doing with this when it was designed to go the different route and be promotional products, branded apparel, and going after corporate America um, under my own name, and realized that it probably wasn't the best one to do. There's way better avenues I could have went for logo and branding and all that. So being in the situation I was in, I'm in now, I gave up that brand for the better of the company, and so we're rebranding it as Abby Print and Apparel and Promo. Excuse me, Abby Apparel, Print and Promo. Um, and it's better. It's a softer, it's more universal, and it tells what you do. So part of that rebrand is that. So the business, the corporate America, and the branded apparel and all that. I still do the online stores. I still do web development. I still do everything I did before. Now we do it under Abby Apparel Print and Promo, and where our our relaunch is going to be for that. So that made more sense. I had to not be in love with that GY6 for everything I did, and that's where I fall. I mean, so I love my logo. You guys have seen me wear my hats, wear my shirts. I have mugs. I have all sorts of different stuff, and I like promoting my. I do like promoting it. So I mean, it's I fell in love with it, and you can put your blinders on at times, and it can hurt your business. Now, going forward, of course, I'm going to continue to use the GY6 brand, and I'm going to you know promote that, but in a different aspect. Um, so a lot of times as a business, we do fall in love with our brand. We fall in love with our name. We fall in love, and sometimes we forget what your real job and focus is. So in my industry, we are not supposed to be like we want when we're doing our branding and all this stuff and our social media campaigns. Our campaign should be about who we are, what we can do for you to take this off your plate. But at the end of the day, you're still the rock star, man. I like I always reference this, because I guess I grew up in the '80s and early '90s, but there was a show when I was a kid and I loved to watch it. My brother loved it more than me. He had all like the toys and stuff, but there was a show called The Fall Guy, and Lee Majors is a stunt man, and he's also a detective and all this. But he actually sings the intro song, and it's "I'm the unknown stunt man." And he said that make Eastwood look so fine. And what he's pointing out is, I'm the guy behind the scenes that make you look like a superstar. You're never going to know my name. You're never going to know anything about me, but I'm going to make you look good because that's my job. That's what I do for a living. I come in and I make you be the rock star, and I'm the one that's providing you with all the branded apparel, the promotional items to get you in front of your customer, to stand out, the different print aspects that make your company shine, your banners, your everything done in your business card, right? That's my job. The only way anybody should know who I am is when you're referring me to help out somebody else. All my stuff at that aspect is not branded with my Abby apparel and promo and print. It's not going to be branded that way because it's just different at that point. It's about making you a rock star. So that's where I talk about the emotion of it. So people tend to fall in with the building their brand and they lose sight of where their message might be and where it should be. Same thing happens in life, right? So I think about the things that Victor said to me about, you know, losing money and being hurt. And there's a lot of truth to that in real life. Think about when you're going into a relationship, especially nowadays, right? You know, I'm in my mid 40s. been divorced. My ex-wife has passed away. Um, I've had, I've dated, not dated for a while, and it takes a lot, right, to let down your guard and let somebody in, and let somebody be part of you and what you want. And when you're willing to do that, to let somebody in and truly fall in love, let's face it, man, you're opening yourself up to what happens if this don't work out. Could be out money, you're going to have a broken heart, right? It's the same whether you're in business or whether you're in your personal life. Um, you have to be willing to let down that wall and that guard to be successful and take a chance at anything, right? So a lot of times people will hire a guy like me, and I come in, and most times I work directly with the owners or whatnot, depending on the situation. But like, even not what I even do now, but like when I'm brought into a company, usually they're bringing me on because there's a problem, right? And typically it's new business development is what they're looking for. They're looking for something to spark that. And I try to get this across to everyone. You have to trust me. And in order to trust me, it's it takes a while, right? It takes a while. So to trust me, you have to, one, I have to earn that, and I have to get to the point where you realize that I'm here for you, right? I'm here for you. I'm here for the better interest of your company, and I can't make it about me, right? So it can't be about me. It has to be about you, and you have to trust that that is my intent, and that is what I'm here to do. So I'm no longer looking at you and your business through the eyes of what's how does this benefit Brian? I'm looking at it as this is what you brought me in to do, and how does this benefit you and moving forward or hitting the goal that you want to hit, and taking that emotion out of it, all right, and realizing that that's what I'm here to do, and that's my job. Um, when I come in, if you're asking me to look at your sales process or procedures, um, I hope you're not in love with it because you're asking me to break it apart. If you bring me on to evaluate your staffing, chances are someone's going home because you're closer to them than I am. I have to take that emotion out of it. But what I've learned over the years is the better solution is to find where somebody's strengths are, try to move them in that position where they can thrive because of how much it does cost to replace somebody. And let's face it, sometimes things just don't work out. Not everyone's a good fit. Not everyone falls in, or maybe you've changed your outlook on where you want to go, and now this is no longer a good fit, right? I work for a company, love these guys. My former employer, they have a great game plan and model that fits their business. And the fact of the matter is I was going to be an anchor. They liked me, they were keeping me, but they didn't need me. I mean, especially paying me what they're paying me. Um, it's why I didn't feel so bad when I left because I felt like I was that what they were paying me was way more than what they needed to spend, and they could better allocate those funds to something that made more sense for them to get them to where they want to go. And I'm going to tell you, the day Bro launches his vision, it's um it's going to be impressive. He has a great idea. He's still trying to work out the kinks on it, but it's going to be big and it's going to do well. So I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see him succeed in it. So be on the lookout. Just remember that name. But like I said, it's and it goes back to the emotion thing, right? So they they really liked me. I was like family. At least that's how they always made me feel. If they were talking about it behind my back, nobody ever knew. I sure as hell didn't. But they made me feel like family. But reality is I was not bringing in what it should be, you know. So I wasn't bringing in what I should be, and they're paying me, and it wasn't a good fit. So I wound up moving on to a better fit for me, a direction that fits me and where I want to go and what I want to do. And in the long run, it's going to be better for them too. So it goes both ways. I was brought in for a task, a situation. We did that, but things changed. They truly did outgrow me, and they kept me on longer than they had to for, because we were all friends. Truth of the matter is if I didn't have a conscience, I'd still be there freaking soaking up a paycheck, and then that's just not right. But some people can handle that. I can't. That's where I'm talking about where you take the emotion out. So let's talk about where you put the emotion in. Okay. So when you're talking to your clients and you're finding out what is their pain point, what it is that is stopping them from moving forward and whatnot, this is where you will learn to use that emotion, right? So you want to play a little bit into that emotion because this is something that's hurting them. This is bothering them. And you are trying to solve that for them. You are trying to take that pain away from them and be that solution provider and fix it. So the objection always comes when you bring up money, right? Here's all my issues. Here's my problems. Here's what's going on. And at the end of the day, they want to know, all right, you can fix it. You say you can fix it. So do 100 other guys, and they try to make it a commodity. How much is it? And it becomes a bidding war. I'm not going to bid. I don't negotiate. Here's my price. Um, I'm not a big one on negotiation. If you think my price is out of whack and you say, hey, so and so is this, can you match it? I already know you want me. I already know you want me. So I make a decision at that point, yes. But typically negotiation is not what I do. So when you're finding out what their pain point is and you're finding out what's important to them and whatnot, this is where that emotional will come into it. And you do have to play into that. And it's not being a jerk. It's not a trick. It's not. I guess you could call it a tactic. I talked about that in the last podcast. But reality is there is an emotion involved there because this is keeping them up at night, bothering them, whatever the terminology you want to use is there. But this is something that occupies space in their head and is probably preventing them from moving forward or doing something that they need to be working on. And you're taking that off. So your emotional play is by removing this. This is what you're going to have: peace of mind. Okay, you're going to have more free time to focus on what you need to work on. That's when the emotional cell, so to say, comes in to this whole idea of not falling in love, right? So, and I don't mean it in a dirty tactic either. Um, if you can't do that for the customer, don't waste their time. Respect their time. And I've talked about this before. I'm a huge proponent of this. Respect people's time. If somebody tells you they're giving you 30 minutes of your time, it's not a win to be there for a fucking hour, man. Like it's you might think it is, but it may feel like that at the moment. But the next time they meet with you, they got that in the back of their head, man. Like give them a half hour and an hour on it. You gotta respect people's time. Respect your employer's time. That's a big pet peeve with me is respect your employer's time. You get up, you come to work, be on time. When you're there, and I know we all do the social media shit, we surf our stuff like that, but be cognizant. And this is a true story. Um, so work for a company, and all of a sudden one day we get an email saying no more cell phones. No more cell phones at your desk. Now you have a phone, you have a computer at your desk. Everybody does. But let's face it, we all have cell phones for those text emergencies with your kids or whatnot. And that isn't even what it was about. So what we found out was why we all lost our cell phones was because there was somebody working in the building and they had their cell phone out and they were watching Netflix all day on it. And when that person was approached and asked why they were doing this. They said, well, I'm still getting my work done. And they didn't understand why that was unacceptable because, well, I'm doing my job anyhow. I'm paying you to be here. I'm not paying you to watch this and work. I'm paying you to be here. Respect that. And it just baffled me. It just baffled me that this person like really seen there's no issue with that. Your employer, the only thing they owe you is a safe work environment and to honor the contract that you guys negotiated when you came in for your pay and your salary and your working conditions. That's it. I mean, they don't owe you anything other than that. And when you take that mentality and you understand that mentality, pull that emotion out of it and understand through their eyes, they need the profit off you. Profit's not a dirty word. I need the profit off you because, first of all, and I'm just using a round number. So when I pay you $10 an hour, it really costs me $13 to $15 an hour because of the insurance I have to pay and whatnot. Okay. And again, as an employee, there's a different mindset, right? I don't care. So what happens when you make a mistake on a product? Okay. So in my industry, so I'll use my industry as an example. So somebody's screen printing a shirt, and we we have the wrong color on it, or the print's crooked, something of that nature. So, oh, hey, can you order me another one? Hey, I screwed this up. Oh yeah, sure, no problem. That costs money. That eats into the profit. All these factors factor in and why you have to try to take the emotion. First of all, everyone makes a mistake. So as someone in management, ownership, everyone makes a mistake, and you do have to tolerate that. And let me tell you, first thing is we do budget for a little bit of spoilage. Everybody should. If you don't, have some type of budget in there for it. I hope you never use it. That's the goal. Budget for it, never use it. So when you have someone who makes a mistake, a lot of people don't get it that it's not a tax write off. It's not a fucking insurance thing. Um, there's no such thing as freebie. Okay. So we do have to eat those. We do have to pay for those. And it comes out of the profit of our job. That's just all there is to it. Things happen. Hopefully I planned for it. And if not, then shame on me. But it's never personal. And people don't make, they're called mistakes for a reason, everybody. It's because they're not intentional. When somebody does something intentionally, they did. Um, and again, it's the emotion in, emotion out, and how you react to it, respond to it. But like when someone makes a mistake, I do want to see that you have some type of give a shit to it. That you're sorry about it. You know, I want to see something. I want to see some type of reaction from you that lets me know what your character is, or your state of being is, or basically, do I trust you with my stuff, with my business, with my money? So another example is um, there's certain things that are like you do and don't do for decorations. So for like kids, uh, especially babies, you got to be careful about the decoration method you use because like embroidering, do not do it because if there's a thread or something like that, the kid can rip it apart. Do not put yourself at risk. People do. It's not typical that stuff rips and all that. Transfers are a big one. Vinyl transfers. So I put that transfer on a baby shirt. If that thing cracks or peels, that kid can rip that off, put it in their mouth, poison, choke, whatever. I won't. I don't want that responsibility. I would not be able to sleep at night if something like that happens. So the best thing to do is you take that emotion out and make a policy. We're not going to do this and I don't give a shit because Brian would never be able to sleep at night. I don't care if you say that. So you have to look at those circumstances and understand that the play on the emotion and the non-play on the emotion. The play on the emotion is, hey, you know, it's a justification in this part. The reason why we're doing it is because emotionally Brian would not be able to handle this. Something happened to him and lose his house and lose his kids and lose all that stuff. That always factors into it, right? So um, that's kind of, I think I probably went on a little bit longer than it probably needed to get the point across. But like, yeah, the biggest thing I've learned in life, one of the biggest things I should say is to don't fall in love. And we all don't want to have go through those pains and when things don't work or when things are wrong. But when you do find out the right fit, everything just kind of clicks. But always make sure your eyes are open and your ears are open and you're willing to listen to somebody else who might have gone through it or done this, done that in the past, whatever, has some experience with it. Learn from it. Doesn't mean you have to do what they say or whatnot, but that emotion that was attached to that is going to steer you in the wrong direction based on how you play off it. I know this is kind of just you know timing thing for it being around Valentine's Day, but a lot of things have been going on that have made me want to revisit this and rethink, retalk about it in a little different light than I did a little while ago, which is probably been over a year at least. Um, but this is something that takes time too. Keep that in mind is that nobody has the ability to just do it, turn it on and off right off the get go. It takes time in learning how to do that. A lot of mine was when I was a medic, learning how to respond to situations versus react to a situation. And then, but everyone we talked about, I could go from 0 to 10 in the flip of a switch just like that. And it's true. And so to take the emotion out of things, the more that I'm doing that, the better of a human being I am. And not only that is the better of business I'm doing is has to do with the ability to start to separate that and get more out of your employees. In all honesty, make them understand that this nothing's personal. It's business is business, and hopefully they had the same mindset and they can see through those eyes. And if they do, then great. And if not, might want to start looking. Might want to start looking, man. So that being said, I think I've ranted and raved long enough. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Please check out the YouTube channel. That's where it's all about. Like it, share it. Same thing with the Facebook page. Check me out, tattooedandbusiness.com. Look for us on our podcast. Love to hear from people. Shoot me an email, shoot me a message. And hey, any topic you want to hear, please let me know. All right. Everybody, you have a great night. I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day and take care. All right. This is Brian Brown with Tattooed in Business.